y'all, I'm Dan Hamilton, host of the Next Gen Warrior Show. Today's special episode is brought to you by Chairman George P. Bush and our staff of the Texas Veterans Land Board, along with our great partners at Hiring Our Heroes. Today marks the conclusion of a three-part series with our great friends at Hiring Our Heroes, where we had the opportunity to discuss service after service, military spouse entrepreneurship. And today I am proud to be joined by Sergeant Dakota Meyer, Marine Corps veteran and Medal of Honor recipient. Sergeant Dakota Meyer joined Hiring Our Heroes in Toyota as a personal branding ambassador in 2015. Dakota was awarded the Medal of Honor for his actions during the Battle of Ganjgal, September 8, 2009 in Afghanistan. Dakota is passionate about engaging with young service members and veterans about the importance of early preparation for military to civilian transition. He is also the co-author of the book, Into the Fire, a Firsthand Account of the Most Extraordinary Battle in the Afghan War, co-authored by Bing West. Dakota, it's great to have you on the program today. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So I have a lot of content that I'm excited to get into with you today, but I was interested to see if you wouldn't mind starting out about telling us the process of being awarded the Medal of Honor, and specifically the day that you were awarded it. I believe it was 2015, 2011, which was about 2 years after the battle. And I was just wondering if you could provide us kind of some insight to what that day was like and even the preparations the day before.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the battle goes, so you're talking about the battle, or you're talking about receiving the medal?
Actually receiving the medal, yeah, what it was like. I mean, just being at the White House surrounded by, I'm sure, your battle buddies, as well as the president and, senior military advisors, the whole thing, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy, right? Like, definitely something I never expected. I mean, honestly, I don't even remember that much of it. It was so chaotic.
Kind of felt like a blur a little bit.
Yeah, it felt like a blur. And it was just, there were so many people, 250 people, everybody's just pulling you everywhere. And, it was crazy.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about the brands that you have started since you've been out of the Marine Corps. Here on the program, we get to talk so much about personal and professional development. And I'm interested to know if you can tell us about Own the Dash and kind of from the concept of that to the reality, and also Flipside Canvas that you're also helping run.
Yeah, I mean, Own the Dash was started just because, like, it's kind of like, I had to find a purpose for like what my message was, and that's like it's like the pillar of everything I do. I mean, Flipside, Own the Dash is the pillar of Flipside, right? Like, it's the concept of a way of life, and then that's how you choose everything else around it. And so I have Own the Dash, which is an apparel company, and then Flipside Canvas, which is my art company, and what we do is digital art.
So what was kind of maybe the impetus for this, or were you always kind of a businessman? Did you want to be, running a business, or did you have any idea maybe that you were when you were in the service that, hey, when I get out, I would like to have my hands in a couple of different projects?
Yeah, I mean, I think like, I don't think I even knew what being an entrepreneur was. I mean, I've always done things on my own. I've always been the one to, like, to be proactive. So I think that's part of being an entrepreneur, is being able to see a problem before most people do, and then trying to fix it and find a solution. And so, that was kind of my driving motive for wanting to work on my own, is I didn't need someone telling me what problems to work on. I could see them myself, and usually better than the people I work for. So if I feel like I can do it better, I'll just start my own business.
No, absolutely. So tell us about a little more about Flipside Canvas. Why, some people might go, why is a Marine Corps veteran a hard charger working, with art? How did he come about this? What was kind of the idea behind that? Why do you enjoy that so much?
I mean, I enjoy it because, like, the art that we put out is art that reminds people of why they're great, right? Like,
Mm.
people are great. Like, you don't have to go make someone great. you just got to find ways to motivate them and remind them that they are great. And so like that's what the cool part was Flipside is that it's something that they can put up on their wall. The pieces that they pick are usually it's like your eyes are like that your eyes go directly to your heart, right? So like, with what they see, it obviously gives them some type of emotion or some type of motivation, depending on which piece they pick. So that's why they do it.
No, I love that. So during this process of running a business, I guess you've been on both sides of either being an employee and working in a business, or now being somebody who is hiring and looking to employ veterans or people in your community. Can you maybe discuss the hiring process and you think, or and what you're thinking about when you're looking to hire a veteran?
I mean, I don't look, I'm always looking for someone who's going to, uphold and live by the standard that we as veterans live by, right? Like, yeah, obviously I initially come off whenever I'm hiring a veteran, I initially come off and I think they get more of a pass of I assume they know, I already, when they say the word veteran, I assume that they have the same values and same
Hmm.
principles that were instilled in me, right? But on the backside of that, I also hold them accountable at a higher standard because they should know them. And so, it's a like, look, I don't think that us as veterans should get a handout. Like, I don't think that we should get a buy-in just because we served this country. Like, I think that if anything, we shouldn't get a value because we serve this country, or we shouldn't get a buy-in because we serve this country. We should get a buy-in because they are um, because companies like know that we as veterans should know the principles and values that are important.
Yeah. No,
I think,
absolutely.
and I
Go
think
ahead.
that's where like this area gets so mixed up is these guys walk around and think that well, because I served, you owe me, and it's not, right. Like, it's not. um it's just you have a title that people automatic people that you have a title that says, hey, I've done this. It's kind of like the bachelor's degree,
Yeah.
you know
It gives you a foot in the door, but it
credibility.
certainly is not a guarantee of success in the long run. And like you said, you got to go out there and earn it. You got to earn it every day, just like everybody else. Because I guess one thing that I learned after the service was that, you know, you have to compete for everything, because, there's the people who go into job interviews just like you are. And like you said, you can't rest on your previous military experience to keep you going on the other side of that transition.
Exactly, and you have to, it's look, it gets you in the door. It's like a credibility piece, but you still have to live up to it.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm interested to know. I spent a little bit of time on your social media page, and I know you're somebody who loves adrenaline. You're a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. I know that you are a helicopter pilot. You do some skydiving. But another thing that I saw was you doing a little paramedic training or a little firefighter training. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so like I'm a firefighter as well. I just felt like my country had given me so much, my community had given me so much, and I felt like uh, I had an obligation to live up to. Like, I had an obligation, I had a skill set that I could bring to the table, and if I had an opportunity to help people, then I should. That's 100% what I should do. And so I think that that was um, that's what I did. So like I ride a every so once a week, for 2 days for 48 hours, I ride a fire truck and I ride an ambulance. So just trying to go out and help my community more.
No, I love that. That's that's something that we like to talk about on the show, is the desire for veterans, or really just to push veterans to continue to serve and continue to lead after the military. And I think that's such a great example of those things, of continued service and continued leadership. how much do you think your military training either prepared you for it, or what are some things that you've learned from the guys and gals around you about that profession?
Look, it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. Honestly, I mean, I know this is a bold statement, but like I gotta tell you, like what these men and women do that get on these trucks every and go out and these first responders do is a million times worse than anything I've ever seen or done overseas
Mm,
in Afghanistan or Iraq. I mean, the sacrifice that they are making is astronomical, and is so overlooked and is so I gotta tell you, like, look, my heroes are them,
yeah.
and I learn a lot from them every day. Like, these guys are some of the best guys I've ever met, and just teamwork and accountability, and just it's a passion for a job and believing in what you're doing, a cause bigger than you. I mean, they are the epitome of that.
Hey, can I ask you something kind of along those lines? Do you think it's, I want to compare, I guess, the deployment experience where when you're gone, right? So you can't come home, you don't have any creature comforts, you can't be around your friends and family. You're there, you do the job, and then you come back. Versus the concept like you were just talking about, where if you're on the truck for a couple of days, or if you're riding in the ambulance for a couple of days, you are in a very kind of heightened sense of awareness. Your reaction skills are very high. You're prepared to go into difficult situations. Can you talk about maybe the mindset? Are you able to prepare to go on shift, and then what do you do maybe to bring yourself down and to calm yourself down, whereas on deployment you're just there the whole time? Can you maybe talk about the distinction there between the two?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to come off of a motor vehicle crash where there's kids involved, and then
Mm.
2 hours later you're holding your own kid. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to come off of a stressful situation on the morning of a shift change and then go home to your family and be normal. Like, it's not normal what is asked of these first responders. um it's not. It's astronomical, and you just have to find your own way to deal with it, because you are going to deal with it. Like, it's a you either exercise your either you exercise your demons, or they're going to exercise you.
So you've also been a huge advocate for PTSD treatment for veterans who are struggling, and you've been incredibly open, I think, and really kind of taking the lead and encouraging veterans to go process through anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, whatever mental health struggles that veterans may be going through. Can you tell us about your own personal journey, and then maybe some advice to veterans who may be struggling with the same things?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's about realizing, it's about looking in the mirror and realizing it, and then being, so many people try to avoid it. So many people try to avoid it, and I think you have to be honest with yourself. You can't fix a problem that you won't even state there, right? And I think that's the number one piece, is being able to say, hey, look, I got something I need to work on, I need to fix it. But with that, you're also saying, I'm not perfect, right? Right? Like, I'm not. I possibly need help, and that's the hard part for people who are always out trying to help other people.
Yeah, and it is, and it's a continued process, right? I think one thing that maybe gets forgot in this conversation is that veterans, or I think first responders too. We had Matt Paul on, who's the captain in Austin Travis County EMS, and we talked about the initiative that he's taking to promote mental health among first responders. And the thing that strikes me about it is that veterans or first responders or whoever it may be, our peers, it's a kind of a consistent process, right? It's like working out. The more you work out, the longer time you do it, the more beneficial it is to you. You build up some muscle memory, you build up some strength. But that's also true, I think, in for those who are seeking therapy, for those who are seeking treatment. It's not just, you can't just go and run 30 minutes and expect everything, your health to be good. And it's the same thing for your mental health too, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it's look, I mean, it's your mind is a muscle. You know what I mean? Like, your mind
Mm,
is just like the rest of your body.
yeah.
Your mind, um, look, it's you can be as physically strong as you want, but if you're not mentally strong, it does you no good, right? Like it's a whole. There's a wholeness to all this. There's a wholeness of being good, and it's also that'll dictate how long you can do it.
Yeah. One piece of the mental health aspect, as well as that all around um, processing of emotions or personal and professional growth, is the importance of your community. And I wanted to ask you, how your community is, the people that you're keeping around you, the people who keep you motivated. I know you talked about the folks at the station, but can you kind of park on that for a minute and talk about the importance of your surroundings and the people that you're around essentially kind of dictate your actions and behaviors?
Yeah, I mean, look at your circle. It's obviously you're never going to be better than the people you surround yourself with. So like if you're the best person, uh, if you're the best person in the group, then all you're going to do is go backwards because you're going to
Yeah.
go back down and rise to their level, right? Um, look, it's important. It's and accountability, right? Like we have this false sense of brotherhood, of being I need someone to like, of the people I like.
Right.
We had this sense of brotherhood is hey, I like, as long as we're boys and we hang out off, outside of work, or we like each other, like, we're drinking beers together, like that's brotherhood, and that's not brotherhood.
Mm.
That might be friendship, but that's not brotherhood. Brotherhood is people who hold you accountable to a standard that dictates you'll accept nothing less than being the best, and they demand the best of you even when you don't demand it of yourself.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. I think that community aspect is something we often talk about, because for veterans, including myself, I found myself after I got out of the service. I guess by nature, I'm kind of an introvert, but I realized that the isolation that veterans can tend to go in if they're struggling is one of the it can be a deadly place to go, to be honest with you. And so we always encourage veterans, and I appreciate you saying that, about finding people around you who are either older, smarter, have different life experiences. They don't have to be veterans, but somebody who's going to hold you accountable and really try to bring them with you along their journey.
Yeah, it's the people who don't feed into your bullshit, right? Like,
Yeah.
how many times you see veterans get together, or just anybody, like it doesn't matter, veterans, married people, like whatever, get together, and then they just start bitching, right?
They
And they just
divulge this. Yes.
and then somebody doesn't hold them accountable. They just feed into the bullshit, and then it just makes it worse, you
So is
know?
that kind of accountability? Is that something you exercise mainly in the Marine Corps? Is that something that you were brought up with? How did that become such a crucial part of who you are, not only just a Marine, but as a man?
I mean, look, I was fortunate. Um, I was fortunate because look, I've always been around that. Like that's how my dad is.
Yeah.
Um, and look, at growing up, between football coaches, my dad, football coaches, my grandfather, then the Marine Corps, and then my leadership throughout the Marine Corps was that way. And then, getting out, I've always had that circle. Well, I mean, I'll tell you this, and any times that I was striving and moving up and getting better,
Hmm.
I look around and I have that circle. Anytime I feel like I'm going backwards, I look around and it's my circle.
Huh. Another thing that I'm interested to kind of get your perspective on is time management. And I know for someone like you who has, as I said, your hands in a lot of different pots, you're running businesses, you're out in the community continuing to serve, you're a father. How do you prioritize your time? And then also, I think one of the key components of time management is also finding rest. So how do you help prioritize the many different things that I'm sure you want to do throughout the week?
Well, I'm not the best at it. So let me just go ahead and say that.
Well, at least you're honest, huh? I struggle with
Yeah,
that too. I miss meetings that are actually on my own calendar. So I'm right
yeah.
there with you.
Yeah, I'm not the best at it, like I definitely overcommit. Um, and I think, I had an incident this last week that, probably woke me up a little bit to it. And so, I definitely, I don't, I definitely put more into everybody else than I do into myself, but it's kind of like the airplane analogy, right? Like
Yeah.
you've got to put your own mask on before you can help others. And I think that's something that I definitely need to focus on. But look, I honestly I would rather be leaning more towards where I help everybody else and not myself enough than I
Sure.
would towards I do more for myself than helping other people. It's just a balance. Look, nobody gives the same. Nobody can do the same. Like we're all different people. We all have different things that we can do. Everybody runs at a different level. I'm sure you've heard of Jocko Willink.
Yeah.
Like, look, I hear people all the time, like, I want to be like Jocko. Like, you can't be like Jocko.
That guy's got a high
There's,
motor.
yeah, like you can't be like Jocko. But obviously that's a good reference point. But you got to be you. You got to be the best you. And look, it does you no good to get in your own car and look at the gauges of somebody else's car.
Oof.
Right, like you need to be focused on your own gauges and being really in tune with that. And the better you can make your car perform, as you as a person, is what I'm referencing, then the better that you're going to be able to help other people and be able to get the most out of who you are and your life.
I'm glad you said that. I know that something that is really important to you is being a father, and what I love about your Instagram and social media is the first thing that you have to identify yourself is Dakota Meyer, father, and then Marine, and then sniper, helicopter pilot, and skydiver. Can you talk about the impacts of being a father on your life?
I mean, look, I mean, it's probably it's by far the keystone to my life.
Mm-hmm.
Look, my daughters are it. My daughters teach me how to be the best me. My daughters, uh, my daughters are my daughters are my heart. Like I say this all the time. Men want sons, but men need daughters. And my daughters make me a better person, and they hold me accountable, because I have to wake up and I understand they didn't choose me, I chose them.
Right.
And with that, there's a responsibility to having that father title. It's kind of like being a Marine or being a Navy SEAL or whatever titles you hold. Like, look, being a father is by far a title that defines me more than being a Marine. And so like for my daughters, they they drive everything I do. I wake up in the mornings and 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 whether I'm working out, I work out harder for my daughters. And I do that because I need to protect them. I need to be healthy so that I'm here to watch them grow up, to walk them down the aisle. Like I have a lot of stuff I have to do for them.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it goes, right? And so
Was that the priority shift for you, would you say, or at least mentality shift?
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say mentality shift. I would say just real accountability,
Mm.
right? Like I would say, look, we talk about combat of like, you do it for the person on the left to the right of you. And that's why you get people to perform so well in combat. And then they come home and then when it's not guys' lives on the line, they're a shit show, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's just be honest. But I was the guy who had to be in the shit for you to rely on me.
Yeah.
And
You needed the
my
pressure to be
daughters,
really cranked up.
yeah. I mean, look, yeah. I mean, I needed the pressure to be cranked up. And so my daughters they came in my life and they put that pressure that I needed for the rest of my life. Like I don't wake up a day and my daughters don't need me. I don't wake up a day and there's not a workout I go to, or there's not a day, like every day that I waste, like I wasted on all the gauges of me being me to be the best dad that I can be for them, right? As far
Yeah.
as financially successful or my business successful. Like, Am I building the best life for my kids that I can be? When I talk to other people, am I presenting myself in a way? Am I treating them the way that I would want my daughters to be treated? Right? Like whether I come in contact with a man or a woman, look, that woman is somebody's daughter.
Yeah.
And then that man is someone who could down the road have a son or a daughter or could affect my kids in some way, right? Or someone else's kids. And so like, when you take that approach on life, it's like it definitely gives you a real line of what you need to live by.
Yeah, I think that point is actually, maybe something that we've never actually talked about. I know you like that high gauge of pressure, but there is a certain amount. I think when veterans get out of the service, they don't feel the pressure, they don't feel the heat, they don't have a staff sergeant or a corporal or somebody on them kind of pressing them to do things. But when you do have that, that is at times when you perform your best, whether that's, if you get out and you go to school or you're in the workplace and trying to pursue your career, having that accountability like you talked about and having some amount of pressure can be a very healthy thing to continue to push you forward and help your own personal growth.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got to have pressure. Like without pressure, I mean, look, diamonds aren't made without pressure.
Yeah. Hey, I want to go back to high school days when you were a football player, and I know you loved playing football. You were really good at it. Were you thinking before you joined the Marine Corps that maybe you might go play somewhere? And then why did you change your mind to enlist?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought I'd go play at a D2 school or something, and
Did you
I mean,
want to
look,
stay in your hometown, or did you want to stay in Kentucky, or were you ready to get out and go somewhere else?
I mean, I would have probably went anywhere, like anywhere that would have took me, I would have went, right? Like football was my, what I loved doing and it was all I knew. And, so, like I liked it. And that's what I thought I was going to do. And then, just like there was a Marine recruiter that just came through one day and I don't know, I felt this desire to go do more. And that's what so I joined the Marine Corps. And I mean, I was playing in an all-star game in Hawaii. I'd already signed up for that.
Strap the pads on when you were in?
Well, not when I was in, but I was like, before I had signed up for the Marine Corps. So before I'd signed up for the Marine Corps, I was playing that summer in an all-star game in Hawaii.
Oh,
I
really?
signed up for the Marine Corps. Yeah. So I went to Hawaii, played in an all-star game, and then came home and 4 days later left for boot camp.
Wow. Did you do a whole lot of prep before you left to boot camp, or do you just kind of rely on your own physical strength and obviously your football conditioning?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do any prep.
You were just like, hey, let's just go.
Yeah, I mean, I was an athlete. I'd worked out. I mean, I ran. I mean, literally, I came out of the Marine Corps and I was, I mean, I came out of the high school and I was running track, playing, I was never sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, you were definitely a busy guy. Well, Dakota, I want to thank you for being on the show with us today. And I appreciate you sharing your time and really some great insights about just, personal accountability and what veterans can do to continue to serve and lead in their community. But I wanted just to provide you the last word today before we go. Is there anything that you'd like to leave our audience with?
No, I mean, I think you just, I think the biggest thing that everybody needs right now is to step back and understand, stop letting people think for you. Stop letting people tell you how you feel. Stop letting people stop letting people hold you back from realizing how great you are. Like, don't let Instagram likes, none of these things define who you are. Like, let your effort define who you are. And nobody can ever judge effort. There's only one person who has to go to bed at night and know the effort that they put into the day, and that's yourself. And I think if we do that, I think, I think that's, that fixes a lot of our problems that we have today.
No, I appreciate that. And that's a great place to leave it off with. Dakota, thanks for being on the program with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. On behalf of Chairman George P. Bush and our staff at the Texas Veterans Land Board, as well as our great partners at Hiring Our Heroes, this concludes our three-part series where we had the opportunity to discuss military spouse entrepreneurship, service after service, and we're joined by Dakota Meyer. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you next Monday.
Follow us on Instagram at Voices of Vets, on Twitter at Voice of Veterans, and on Facebook at facebook.com/Voices of Veterans. To hear more, please visit voicesofveterans.org. Join us in sharing the success stories of Texas veterans. Thank you for joining us for the Next Gen Warrior podcast.